Mary J. Blige sold 50 million records. She won 9 Grammys. She was crowned the queen of hip-hop soul before she turned 25. And then she walked into a courtroom and told a judge, under oath, that she owed $25 million and did not own a single one of her master recordings. Read that again. The woman whose voice built an entire genre does not own the songs that made her famous. Someone else does. Someone else has, this whole time. So where did all the money go? How does a woman sell 50 million records and end up owing the tax man, her own husband, and a bank that lent money to her charity? We looked at the court filings, the tax liens, and the foundation record. What we found was not one bad decision. It was 3 separate people reaching into the same pocket at the same time. We are going to walk through all 3. The government first, then the husband, then the charity that was supposed to send young women to college. By the end, you will understand exactly how the Queen lost a fortune she technically never owned. But to understand how it all fell apart, we have to start where it began. In the projects, with a demo tape and a deal that should have made her rich. Mary Jane Blige grew up in the Schlobohm houses in Yonkers, New York. If you know anything about that part of Yonkers in the 1980s, you know it was not the kind of place that sent kids to recording studios. Her father left when she was young. Her mother raised her on a nurse's income. And somewhere in the middle of all that, a teenage Mary recorded a cover of an Anita Baker song in a karaoke booth at a mall. That tape found its way to a man named Andre Harrell, who ran a label called Uptown Records. Harrell signed her when she was 18. She became the youngest artist on the roster and the first woman. And in 1992, she released an album called What's the 411, a title that came from her old job as a telephone operator. The album went triple platinum. It invented a sound. Critics called her the future of R&B, and for once the critics were right. She was a star almost overnight. When an 18-year-old from the projects signs her first record deal, she is not bringing a team of lawyers to the table. She is bringing gratitude. She is bringing relief. And the people on the other side of that table know it. The deal Mary signed gave the label the master recordings. Not her. The masters are the actual original recordings of the songs, and whoever owns them controls the money they generate, forever. Mary made the music. Someone else owned it, and she was not getting proper royalties either. We know this because of what happened next. And what happened next is one of the strangest chapters in her entire career. By 1994, Mary was unhappy. She could see the records selling. She could see the fame. And she could see that the money was not matching any of it. So she went looking for someone to fix her deal. The person she found was Suge Knight. If you do not know that name, here is what you need to know. Suge Knight ran Death Row Records on the West Coast. He was one of the most feared men in the music industry, a man who would later go to prison, a man whose business meetings sometimes involved baseball bats and threats. And Mary J. Blige, along with the group Jodeci, signed management deals with him. Now think about what that tells you. Mary's original contract was so bad that the solution was to bring in a man like Suge Knight to renegotiate it. And it worked. Knight got her royalty rate doubled. He got her back payments she was owed. He got her more creative control. He walked into those label offices and, in his own words, told them they were letting Mary out of that deal. And they did. Sit with that for a second. It took one of the most intimidating figures in the history of the business to force the industry to pay Mary J. Blige something closer to what she had actually earned. That is how tilted the original deal was. That is the foundation everything else is built on. She spent the first years of her career being underpaid for music she did not own, and it took a genuine threat to move the needle, even a little. So that is the setup. A generational talent, a fortune flowing through her name, and a structure underneath her that was leaking from the very first day. Now let's talk about the three people who made sure that leak never stopped. Starting with the one you can never argue with, the government. The first villain in this story does not have a face. It is the taxman, and the taxman does not forgive, does not forget, and does not lose. In May of 2013, the news broke that Mary J. Blige owed the federal government $3.4 million in back taxes. This was for the years 2009 through 2011. The tax lien laid it out year by year. Around $574,000 for 1 year, over $2.2 million for another, over $647,000 for a third. 3 years of taxes, unpaid, stacking up while the public assumed she was living like a queen. And it was not just the federal government. At the same time, she owed the state of New Jersey roughly $900,000. On top of that, a bank was suing her, claiming she owed over $2 million on an unpaid loan. Now here is where most people would assume the story ends. She had a rough patch, she paid it off, she moved on. But she did not move on, because the tax problem was not a one-time event. It was a pattern. Years later, in 2017, during divorce proceedings we will get to shortly, court papers revealed she owed the IRS $6.5 million. Not the old debt, new numbers. And then again in 2019, another federal tax lien, this time for over $1.1 million covering 2016 and 2017. Look at that timeline. 2013, 2017, 2019. This is not one mistake. This is money leaving faster than it can be counted, year after year, while the woman at the center of it keeps selling records and selling out arenas. She described it herself later. She said she owed so much money that she never thought she would get out of debt. Coming from most people, that is a figure of speech. Coming from a woman who moved tens of millions of dollars through her career, it is a confession about how deep the hole actually went. But the government was only taking what it was legally owed. To understand why there was so little left to take it from, we have to talk about the second person reaching into her pocket. And this one, she loved. His name was Martin Isaacs, though most people know him as Kendu. He was Mary's husband for around 15 years, and he was not just her husband. He was her manager, which means that for a decade and a half, the man she trusted with her heart was also the man she trusted with every dollar her name generated. When their marriage fell apart, the divorce turned into one of the ugliest financial battles in modern music. And it is in those court filings that the real picture of Mary's money finally came into focus. Start with the spousal support. The court ordered Mary to pay Kendu $30,000 a month. A month. He did not have a job. He was, by the court's own account, an unemployed spouse, and Mary was ordered to hand him $30,000 every 30 days. He had actually asked for more. His demand at one point ran as high as $129,000 a month. On top of the monthly payments, she was hit with around $235,000 in retroactive support and his legal fees. Then came the detail that turned a sad divorce into something colder. In the filings, Mary's team laid out that Kendu had spent more than $400,000 on trips and expenses with another woman. And not just any woman. She was an artist that Mary herself had signed and mentored. So the money Mary earned was allegedly being spent by her husband on a woman Mary had personally brought into her own world. Mary put it in her own words, and her words are sharper than anything we could write. She said she thought someone loved her. She said it turned out he was a con artist. and she said that now he was coming after all of her money. There is one more piece here that tells you everything about the pressure she was under. During this period, Mary was the only earner. Every debt the couple had built, and court filings put that figure at over $10 million, landed on her shoulders alone. She has said she had to go back out on tour specifically to be able to afford the alimony payments. She even named a song Rent Money. The queen of hip-hop soul was touring not to celebrate a new album, but to make a court-ordered payment to the man who had betrayed her. So now we have two hands in the pocket. The government taking what it was owed, the husband taking what the court awarded, and, allegedly, more than a little on the side. But the third one is different. The third one is the part almost nobody talks about. Because the third leak was not the tax man, and it was not the husband. It was supposed to be her legacy. In 2007, Mary co-founded a charity called the Foundation for the Advancement of Women Now. The mission was beautiful, and it was personal. It was going to help women, especially young women from difficult backgrounds, the kind of background Mary herself had climbed out of. And one of its promises was scholarships. It was going to send girls to college. In 2010, Mary went on national television and said the foundation had sent 25 young women to college. It was the kind of statement that makes you love her even more. The girl from the projects, reaching back to pull others up. And then it came apart. Reporting later revealed that at least 2 of those young women said the scholarship checks simply stopped coming. Some had to take out loans to stay enrolled. Some faced dropping out entirely. The promise that had been made to them on the way in quietly evaporated. Behind the scenes, the foundation was collapsing financially. It had taken out a loan from a bank for $250,000. On that $250,000 loan, records showed the foundation had paid back a grand total of $368. Checks written to musicians who performed at its events bounced. A tax return went unfiled. Money that donors had given was unaccounted for. And here is the number that makes the whole thing land. In the same window that this charity for women was falling apart, one of Mary's own albums had grossed over $43 million. Her personal donation to her own foundation, the one carrying her mission and her name, was $25,000. $43 million in gross revenue on one side, a $25,000 personal donation on the other, and a group of young women who were promised a future and got a stack of loan paperwork instead. We are not telling you this to make you hate her. We are telling you because the foundation is the clearest window we have into what was actually happening to Mary's money. When the government comes for millions, you cannot always see where the shortfall is. When a husband drains an account, that is between 2 people. But when a charity with your face on it cannot pay back more than $368 of a $250,000 loan, you are looking at a financial life that was out of control at every level. The money was not being managed. It was being lost, on all sides, at the same time. So let's put the 3 of them together, because that is the only way this story makes sense. The taxman took millions, again and again, across 3 separate liens. The husband took $30,000 a month, plus retroactive support, plus, allegedly, $400,000 on another woman. And the foundation, the piece that was supposed to be her legacy, became the place where the collapse became impossible to hide. 3 people reaching into one pocket at the same time. And that pocket was never as deep as it looked, because the biggest asset of all, the music, was never fully hers to begin with. Which brings us all the way back to where we started. The masters. Even at her lowest, Even drowning in tax liens and alimony and a failed charity, there was a fortune that Mary could not touch because she did not own it. Her own catalog. Analysts have pointed out that Mary's net worth is strikingly low for an artist of her stature and longevity, and the reason they give is simple. She does not own the masters to much of her music. The songs keep earning, streaming, and selling to this day. But the biggest slice of that money flows to whoever holds the rights, and for most of her career, that person was not her. Think about the cruelty of that arrangement. The government could take a piece of what she earned. The husband could take a piece of what she earned. But the single most valuable thing her talent ever created, the recordings themselves, sat in someone else's vault the entire time, generating money she would never fully see. There was even a physical symbol of the whole collapse. In 2008, at the height of things, Mary paid $12.3 million in cash for a mansion in Saddle River, New Jersey. 20,000 square feet. The kind of house you buy when you believe the money will never stop. She could not keep it. She listed it, dropped the price, dropped it again. And in 2022, it finally sold for $5.5 million. She lost nearly $7 million on the house that was supposed to be the trophy for everything she had built. So how does this story end? Because if you have made it this far, you deserve to know whether the Queen ever climbed back out. She did, and the way she talks about it now tells you she learned the lesson in the hardest way possible. Mary has said, plainly, that she is out of debt. But listen to how she describes her relationship with money now. She said that now she looks at her payroll, and it is not her money. Her taxes are not her money. She said she does not even want to see it, because it does not belong to her. This is a woman who once bought a 20,000 square foot mansion in cash. Now describing her own income as money, she refuses to touch because she has finally understood how little of it was ever really hers to spend. In 2024, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The recognition is real, and it is deserved. But recognition is not the same as ownership. She got the honor. Someone else, for a long time, got the money. And that is the whole story. Mary J. Blige sold 50 million records and told a judge she owed $25 million because 3 different people were pulling from the same account, while the most valuable thing she ever made was never truly hers. The tax man, the husband, the foundation. 3 leaks, unbags, 1 pocket, and a catalog locked in someone else's vault the entire time. The Queen of Hip-Hop Soul built an empire with her voice. She just never got to own the kingdom. If this story showed you something about the music business that you had not seen before, take a look at the video on your screen right now. We think it is the natural next chapter in everything we just covered. We will see you in the next one.